We all know that staying strong in your faith can be tough, especially when it feels out of control. But if you want peace and power through Christ, this video is for you. What's up, warriors? I'm Zook, and I help Christian men smash their goals by holding them accountable and designing killer morning and evening routines for them. All right, now I'm going to share with you 5 tips to make you more spiritually grounded and mentally strong at any point in your life with unshakable faith. So let's jump into it. All right, now number 1 is you want to trust that God is listening. Even when it's silent, He is working behind the scenes. Your prayers aren't bouncing off the ceiling, they're building something. Stay in prayer even when it feels pointless. Now, bro, I'll be honest, man. Sometimes it feels like nothing is happening, but trust me, God and the angels are working behind the scenes. Now, nothing happens without God's approval, but you do have angels literally watching over you all the time. Now, I will say, if you're not living for Christ, or if you are the type of, I'm just gonna throw it out there, but if you're not the type of Christian that is committed to church, community, you're involved in small group, then it's going to be hard for you, because there are too many Christians that are, they're just stagnant, like they're not doing anything with their life, or they just go to church once a month thinking that that's enough. And they'll live like hell like the rest of the week. Well, really the rest of the month. And God is not really going to help you at all. And you're probably like, oh, well, this guy's so hateful. I'm like, you will judge a tree by its fruit. Jesus himself said that. And we have too many people who are wanting things to happen, and they're praying and praying and praying. And however, they're not living for Christ. They're living for themselves only. And God can't help you really if you're not living for Him. Because if He was to help you out that way, He'll be like a sugar daddy. And too many people treat Him like a sugar daddy, only going to Him when they need things. Dude, you need to go to Him when you don't even need things. You need to love the Lord. But I got on a big old soapbox right there. Now, here's some questions you might be asking yourself. So, what if I don't feel anything when I pray? How do I know God is even listening? Is silence from God or a punishment? Now, those are all really, really good questions. If you don't feel anything when you pray, I would honestly start developing a closer relationship with Christ. And you could do that just by reading His Word daily and meditating on it. Now, I'm not talking about just going to the top of a mountain and doing all that jazz. I'm just talking about spend 5 minutes reading and then 5 minutes just reflecting on what it is you read. Because whenever we shut up, and I'm talking to myself, whenever I shut up and just reflect on what I just read, sometimes God will imprint images or He'll imprint scriptures on your mind. And that's a sign that you are growing closer to Him. You're actually learning and engaging, but sometimes it can take time. Because if you're wanting to operate at a super metaphysical, that's a big word for me, but at a super spiritual level, but you're new to the faith, or let's just use modern terms, like, I don't know, if you have a business and you want to start a business and you want to make $100K a year, but you haven't even started a business yet, because you're living home in your mama's basement, which there's nothing bad with that. If you need to stay at home, by all means. But if you haven't reached a certain level, then you're not going to know how to stay at that level, even if it's just given to you. So you need to work your way into certain points, and it's the same with your relationship with God. He's not just going to hand things over to you. He needs to make sure you can handle it. So even though it seems like nothing is happening behind the scenes, and it's so quiet, and it doesn't feel like your prayers are being answered, they are, but there are several things that need to happen to you first, so that you can then, for one, be more understanding and knowledgeable and wise with what He is setting out for you. Because it is going to take a lot of that, a lot of wisdom and knowledge. And you can know that God is listening too by, there could be maybe a certain verse that just randomly pops in your mind, maybe even a book of the Bible, or maybe somebody just randomly reaches out to you, or you run into an old friend in public and you just start chatting, and they happen to be like in a field that you want to be a part of, or maybe they're living in their God-given purpose, and they're like, hey, what do you do? And you can share with them your God-given purpose, and who knows, maybe that'll align with what it is God is calling you to do. So it's very interesting how that can happen. That's all good and all, but now let's jump into number 2. So you want to build a foundation that doesn't crack. Get your heart and mind rooted in the Word before chasing the wind. Don't try to build a skyscraper on sand. Your habits, your cycles, and your world life equal your base. I'm going to start with the last question. So we need a solid foundation. And I'll tell this to my kids, even though they, I have a 4 and a 2-year-old, so they don't really know what I'm saying. But I just like sharing this stuff. We all need a solid foundation, which you can pretty much have that just about anywhere. But where you have it, just like in real estate, when I went to real estate school, they're like location, location, location. And he would literally say that every day for, I think, the 2 months I was there. And it is key to having something solid. Because, and the reference, and this is even referenced in the Bible, like whenever you have a solid foundation on a poor surface, like sand, no, that was used right there, then it's not going to be very solid. You're easily gonna fall, and you need to be wise too with who you spend your time with, who you share your goals and your wins with. The people you say what you want to do with your life, what God is calling you to do, because you're going to get so many opinions and crap from people who don't know jack about what it is you want to do. They have created their own reality for themselves, and it's in this box, and you're thinking outside of the box, and there aren't a lot of out-of-the-box thinkers, unfortunately, anymore. There are too many people who are just programmed by culture, society, and controlled by the media and the elites. And I know this is getting really deep, but it's horrible. We were designed to do so much more, but we are programmed to think that we can't do much at all. So whenever you do feel like you're getting a lot of pushback and you're not getting answered from God, it's because that's what you're controlled to think, because it's in the shows, the movies, video games, culture, advertising, all sorts of things. So just be careful too what you consume. Now I'm going to jump into 3 questions too. How do I even build that kind of foundation? What is something I can start doing today? And what if I've already messed up the base? How do you even build that kind of foundation? It's simple. Just start. Don't manifest. Because, there are manifesting coaches and gurus out there and crap like that. Like, that's crap. Like, they're just accountability coaches. They help you decide what you want to do, and then they hold you accountable to knocking out the goals to get there. You focus on one step at a time. And what is something you start doing today? Something simple. If you don't have any experience doing anything difficult, start with what you can do with where you're at and what you have. And I feel like I'm being like an angry parent. Well, maybe I am to somebody out there. And don't look at it as if you've already messed up your base. Look at it as learning. Because, I have told people, and especially some close to me, man, it's tough. But I've told them things I wanted to do, and I've spent thousands, like so much money that I literally could not afford on courses because I believe in that. And they just see, I guess, the bad fruits that I've produced, for their words, and they don't really see all the action from behind the scenes. But for me, that's paid education that I have learned from. And I have spent a lot of hours as well. At this point, it's been tens of thousands, maybe. It's been a lot. So just be careful, man, with your mindset. Don't think you messed up. You're just learning. And it is a process. And that's going to lead us to tip 3, which is see trials as training, not punishment. God is not picking on you. He's preparing you. Growth hurts, but it's a holy type of pain. And what are you teaching me, Lord? So sometimes you need to ask, hey, God, what are you teaching me right now? Because there could be a lesson in that moment that can actually help you in the future, in the long run. It's like, we all have those employers who we work for who they're selfish, they're stingy, they're rude, they're just jerk-offs, and their companies have fallen apart. Or maybe they're like, they're companies and they're doing really successful right now. But eventually that stuff will crumble in on them if you don't know how to treat your people. But you can take what you learned from that environment and start your own company, or you can be like, I have learned that people need help doing this instead of all this mess that this man has created, or even woman. So think of that as another learning curve. And honestly, growth does hurt. And, whenever we're born, we're not born to just automatically get up and run. We need to roll, then we need to crawl, then we need to walk, and then eventually we will run. And those are all different kind of pains, because eventually we will fall, we will bump our head, we will hit our arm, scrape our elbow. Just so many things happen. So you just need to be ready. Now, be open-minded. Don't always be ready for something bad, because that'll program your mind to think something bad all the time. And you don't want to do that. You want to be positive and open-minded daily, because too, that'll make you fun to talk with. All right, now here are 3 questions. Why does it feel like life is always hard? Am I being tested or punished? How do I keep from quitting? So for one, life is always hard. That is a mindset thing. You can transition, because dude, there are people from like third world countries who have done so much for their community. Life is incredibly hard for them where they're at, because we have so many luxuries here in America. It's just freaking ridiculous. And if you need to look at something as if you're being tested, and but a good kind of test, like it's a growth kind of test. And what are you going to learn from it? And another thing is, how do you keep from quitting? You have to be consistent, and it can be really hard, bro. And especially like if for about 10 years, like me, if you had shiny object syndrome, dude, it's tough. And that's why I'm finally took action. I'm like, dude, I'm going to help other men who struggle with that kind of stuff. I'm going to hold them accountable. I'm going to send them texts weekly, because this is stuff that I wish I had. I want to check up on them. I want to help them craft like their weeks, what that looks like. It can be really difficult, especially if you have shiny object syndrome, you have ADHD, and like you want to do so many things, and you're obsessed with learning. Like it can be hard. But that's why, like, we need each other, man. I mean, there are many who can do that by themselves, but for a lot of us who are distracted often, it's good to have that accountability. All right, now that's going to lead us to step 4, which is follow his word even when it's not popular. The world won't get it, and that's okay. You're not walking alone. He's right beside you. Read the word daily, like your life depends on it. Because honestly, bro, it kind of does. Honestly, and I mean, Jesus said that himself. I mean, not like in these terms that the world won't get it, but people will not understand the amount of joy that you have, even when you're going through difficult times or trials in your life. And you know what? That's totally okay, because not everybody is at the same level you are. And remember, you're not walking. And remember, you're not walking alone. God is right there with you. And also, you have your brothers, dude. And that's why it's so important to have a strong community with you. They're going to be the ones cheering you on. Now, in the beginning, like when you start out, you're going to feel alone, and like you're on your own freaking island, and you're surrounded by freaking sea monsters, and like there's just no way off. But eventually over time, now the timing, that all depends on you and what you're able to do. You will be able to build a freaking vessel that will blow up any freaking, kraken or sea monster or things like that. You're going to blow right through them. But it takes time to build that and to gather your community, your warriors, your tribe. Because there are many others like that are on the same island. And when you're open-minded, you can look at that island as something actually floating in the sea instead of being isolated and grounded in one area. So whenever your islands float together, you can create a big community and work together to build that vessel, and you could smash through those sea monsters. That was a really good metaphor. I think that was a really good metaphor. Just came up with that. All right, now here are 3 questions you're gonna ask yourself. What if I don't understand the Bible? How do I know what God wants me to do? And how do I stay obedient in the world? How do I stay obedient in a world that's not? And if you don't understand the Bible, that's okay. Like, just read through the Bible. I'd recommend, if you're a new Christian especially, don't get a study Bible. Get a Bible that just goes over the text. I read from the CSV. If you want to read from the NIV or King James, like, you can just read with what you have right now, or what makes the most sense to you. Now, if you do read the Message, I will say, like, that stuff is paraphrased, so and it's like more modernized, kind of like a casual conversation. But I like the CSV because it's one of the newer translations, and it's a bit more accurate. But if you don't understand the Bible, that's okay. Once again, just know that it takes time to learn and to understand, develop relationships, and to develop routines as well. You know what God wants you to do by simply, I don't want to use the cliche about praying, but you can also fast on things, and maybe you can ask ask you can ask several of your friends, like, hey, what do you think I'm good at? And you can, I don't know, maybe you can get like a piece of paper and just start writing down things that you're good at. If they don't give you like a specific thing, they'll just, if they don't, let's just say if they don't give you like a specific idea model or something like that you're good at, like being a YouTuber or a podcaster, etc., you can focus on your traits. Like, are you good at helping people? Are you good at making them feel good about themselves? Are you good at coordinating? Are you good at holding people accountable? I mean, I don't know. I would write all this stuff down. And then that can then help pinpoint you to what God is calling you to do. It is difficult to stay obedient, I'll be honest, in a world that definitely is not. But it's all about consistency. Consistency in anything, is so important. And when people see that you're consistent, they'll believe in your message and they'll believe in what you are doing. I'm doing the prayer hands. I didn't even realize that. It just felt comfortable. Now let's jump into step 5. You want to expect miracles and hold on to the promises, because God has promised us all something amazing. And God's delays aren't denials. His promises are already yes and amen. Well, amen. And you just haven't seen the finish line yet. Miracles still happen. You probably are one of them. So a lot of time when we think that God doesn't answer in our timing, dude, there are billions of people in this world. Now, of course, not all of them follow Christ at all, but they're all his children, so he's always just present with them. Now, I will say when I say that, now God is with you if you are for him. He's not going to force you to follow him. He is there with an open ear when you want to call out to him. But too many people, man, they turn their backs on God and they just wonder why all this bad stuff happens. For one, it could be poor choices that they made. And God is sitting there, he's like, dude, I literally gave you the word. I gave you a Bible, which is something to live by. And it has things you should do and things you should not do. And it's just crazy, man. Even Elon Musk, he applies the teachings of Jesus to his business model, and now look at the guy. I mean, it took him a while to get to the level of being the richest man in the world, but I mean, people are even envious of that. But I'm like, dude, the dude doesn't even sleep that much. I mean, he's always doing something. So people think that once they make so much money or something like that, like it's gonna be easy peasy. I'm like, no, there are gonna be way more responsibilities. A majority of the time. And God has already promised you, promised me, promised us, that things have already been done. Like things are already happening, being orchestrated behind the scenes for you. And miracles still happen. And in America, it can be a little harder to notice them just because there's so much noise. And we're so used to the instant seeing that because instant notifications and cell phone, texting, like all this stuff, like it happens so quick. So it's easy to overlook the small things because we have to be present in the moment to actually notice them. All right, now here's some big questions. Can I really expect miracles in my life? How do I stay hopeful when nothing changes? And what does holding onto the promise actually look like? You can expect miracles in your life. Now, they may not be in the way that you want them to be, but they could be a stepping stone to something even better or bigger. And when you feel like nothing changes, then you need to reformat the way you're thinking, because you're different now than you were at the beginning of this video because you know a little bit more now. So in a sense, like you are different in a way, and what I'll just say mentally. And what does holding on to the promise actually look like? God has promised us many things, but never tomorrow. And he promises us that we will go through trials in our lives, but that is not going to be our finish line. Like, we are to live for him. And we will have difficult times in our life, but, we don't have to live in that. I mean, just be present, be happy, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and it will make it so much easier. I don't know if I answered that like 100% correct, but, I mean, that's the way I view it. All right, bro. I'm going to end it, but if you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, like, and follow for more. And just want to say, I love you. Not trying to be weird, but somebody needs to hear that. All right, bro. Till next time. See ya.